Hello and welcome to another week of The Elegant Life. We are going to be starting a new series here, and it is called The Faces of Divine Consciousness. Now, you can call this the faces of God, the faces of the divine, the faces of source energy, whatever word you've been raised to identify this power, this energy, this all-knowing source that we all come from. That is fine with me because I attract women from all different faiths and religions because what I teach are divine truths, and that helps you connect with what your soul is yearning to connect with. Okay, so what do I mean by face of divine consciousness? There are attributes of divine consciousness, things that distinguish it, things that you can say, yes, you are like that. Just like Erin is blonde, blue-eyed, kind heart, loves all people, this kind of a thing. Okay, these are attributes. And so attributes of divine consciousness are things that just are the epitome of everything that it is. Now, you can write a poem about it and try to explain it. It is really something that is very difficult to describe. If you haven't seen my video last week, I really suggest you do. I will put the link below, by the way, if you haven't, because it describes the experience I went through on a spiritual retreat that I went on, where I became in union with this divine energy. There is simply no way to describe it, but when you try to, there are certain attributes that just like, yes, that's it. Oh, but it's also this, but it's also this, but it's also this. And the way that I describe it and the way I've heard Wayne Dyer describe it are that there are about 7 faces of it. So let's go through these in this series. And why? Because if you connect with these 7 attributes, if you embody them, if you fully know them to be divine consciousness and for you to understand how to get into harmony with them, then you live in that vibration of divine energy. And that is when you feel a life of fulfillment. You feel inner peace, but at the same time, such exuberant joy and bliss. You are able to manifest something out of infinite potentiality energy that exists. It's amazing. And so, thus, I'm going to be sharing these with you over the next 7 weeks. Okay, the first one that we're going to talk about today is abundance. Abundance, unlimited abundance. If you look at how we've been raised, we have been raised as we're little kids that is theirs, this is ours, this is our house, this is our property, that's theirs, this is our country. It's very separate. And we don't expand into the thought that actually this planet is ours. We're only starting over the last maybe 10 years to really bring home that we are part of this planet. Everything is interconnected. If you've ever heard of the butterfly effect, there are loads and loads of examples to show that we are all connected. But we've been raised to see the differences and the separations, and this has created much suffering and pain. So when I talk about unlimited abundance, there is the attribute of divine consciousness that everything is possible. Infinite potentiality, as Deepak Chopra says. Out of this consciousness has been created how many billion varieties of people? How many millions of different species of animals, plants, flowers, insects? How many beautiful things have been created out of nothing into something. If we even take a look at the universe, cosmologists are always saying that the planet and the universes are continuously expanding. There is an unlimitedness to it. Everything is consistently expanding. There is no limit. Okay? So this is an attribute of abundance. Now, a lot of times we negate this abundance when it comes to, for example, prosperity. We can see that there's plants and trees and all that kind of stuff that consciousness has created out of nothing, and that there's an abundance of it. But when we get to the aspect of things that we can manifest, well, we think that's not possible. And that's where that feeling of separation comes in. Because we are created from that divine consciousness, we are a part of it. How could we be separate from something that we're a part of? Okay? It's the same as you looking at your child. You look separate from each other, but yet there are certain things even in your personalities that are the same. How is that possible? How is a personality that you can't see, you can't hold, how do you have the same? And so you are not separate from this divine consciousness. You are a part of it. And because you're a part of it, then you have the ability to have unlimited abundance of whatever it is that you desire. An unlimited abundance of love, an unlimited abundance of friends and healthy relationships, of beautiful experiences, of wealth and prosperity. You have the capacity to do that. The only thing that stops you is you feeling you're separate from it. And so, what I want you to receive and be open to is realizing and being conscious this week as you look around and see all of the abundance around you, and realize that whatever created that also created you. And so you are a part of it. What I have seen and experienced in the past when it comes to wealth, in terms of spirituality, is that people who are spiritual have considered themselves to be more spiritual if they say, well, I don't need that. I don't need to stay in that beautiful hotel. I don't need that much money. I can live without, hardly anything. I can live in a shack if I want to. And I say, wonderful. If you can, and that gives you pleasure and joy, do it. But what often happens is women who are spiritual, and men too, but I speak to my audience as women, we think it's greedy. We think it's selfish to want that kind of level of unlimited abundance. And what I want to share with you is something that I heard once, and I don't know who to give this credit to, but the majority of the wealth in today's world is in the hands of people that don't really come from a heart-centered space. What kind of a world would it be if the majority of wealth was in the hands of people who did? This is one of the things I truly, truly want women to get. The moment you denounce money and wealth as something not spiritual, not coming from divine consciousness, it is the moment that you denounce everything that the whole divine consciousness God is about. You denounce the good that you can do with money to serve and help this planet, people, humanity. And so that is an awareness I want you to go throughout the week with. Shift your perception of feeling separate from abundance. Shift your understanding of what abundance really means. I know it's hard for us to think that the universes are consistently expanding. I mean, it already seems so vast. I don't know about you. When you look up at the sky at night and you think, this is just but one universe. And it seems so vast and so huge. I can't even wrap my mind around consciousness being everywhere and this universe just constantly expanding. But if you think of the amount of abundance that surrounds us and what the essence of that consciousness is that created all of that, anything is possible. And it is. And I want to share that with you. Okay? We'll see you next week for the very next face or attribute of abundance that I want you to start tuning into and vibrating harmoniously with. Mwah! We'll see you next week.